to me, like I told our team, this is the time to get going. I said that, when you get a 12-game home stretch and you've been through the toughest part on paper of the Big 12 schedule, and then with the benefits of a 12-game home stretch, you better take advantage of it. And I said that time's not running out on you, but the time is now, basically. And we got to get going. We got to start playing well, but we got to be in the right frame of mind where you can't look at that conference record right now and feel too down on yourselves. And you got to move forward because, we do have favorable matchups, and we are good enough with the schedule coming our way to win series. And, and that's got to be our focus, to figure out a way to win series and to take advantage of the 12-game home stretch that we have right in front of us. Now it's become a 10-game home stretch. So the pivotal part of our season, obviously, and, the pivotal part that I'm excited about because I think we have a really good team, and I believe in our guys.
Adam, go ahead.
Coach, you've shown offensively that you can hit the ball this year, but starting pitching seems to be very important against Texas Tech. The 2 games you won, you limited them to 2 rounds and then 4 ones. How important would you say it's going to be, especially in this series, to have strong starting pitching?
Yeah, to win in our league, you got to get good starts because it keeps your bullpen fresh and you don't get exposed in the 3rd game of a series with a tired bullpen. But, and if you look at the games that we haven't won, and the games that we've been close in, we've gotten good starts. The games that we haven't won, if you don't have a good start, it's just it's not going to work for you. So it's pivotal for our 3 guys to be consistent here on the way out. As we start this homestand and try to get back in the race in the Big 12.
For the program, that winning the Texas Tech series was really big, but to get back in, especially in the Big 12 race and win this Oklahoma series, if not sweep it, what do you think it's going to mean for this K-State baseball program?
Say that again. Well,
what do you think it'll mean for this K-State baseball program to be able to win, if not sweep, this Oklahoma series?
Oh, geez. I don't know. We got to get back in the race, man. And, you got to start beating some people. And when you have a lead late in the game, you got to win. When you're at home, you got to win a series. So, it's everything for us right now. To me, I won't say must win series, but we got to win a series here this weekend and get going.
And last question here: how do you think the guys feel confidence-wise going into the series after handling Northern Colorado in both games?
Yeah, Northern Colorado is obviously not it's not the program Texas Tech is. It's not the program Texas is. They're certainly well coached and fundamentally sound, and those kids play hard. They're good baseball players, but for us, we weren't playing against anybody. We're just trying to play it at a high level, the highest level we can possibly play. This past Tuesday and Wednesday, I thought we did that the majority of the time. But the key is on these midweek games is to get everyone going, get some work, get feeling good, and play at a high level so you're Big 12 ready come Friday. I thought we did that for the most part.
Ellis, go ahead.
Hey, Pete, how do you think Jordan Wicks has handled the target that's kind of been on his back this season? Just everybody knowing how good he was coming into the year.
Yeah, as good as any prospect I've ever coached, and that's not over talk. He's as good as he's the gold standard as far as handling being a prospect and having that bullseye on your back and just eliminating the noise that comes with that. There are some things that when you're that good, there's some scrutiny and I just think some people have some stuff on him, where they can little subtleties, where his starts haven't been good of late. I think we picked up on that. And, college baseball is so heavily scouted and game planned, and there's so much video available, that you can really be at an advantage if you study it correctly and find little idiosyncrasies that tip pitches and all that other stuff, and I think we've handled that one of late. And I honestly think, we played against some good teams, but it just felt like they had something on him. And but as far as him handling it on a daily basis, he's all about winning for the purple or white. He doesn't know. He doesn't see all the radar guns, and he doesn't read the publications. Believe me, he just wants to win here and get us to Omaha and be right in the middle of it. And then, when the draft comes, the draft comes. And but he's as good as it gets when it comes to handling all that stuff.
Well, what is it about his stuff that gives him such a high ceiling at the next level, you think?
He's left-handed, left-handed. It helps. Yeah. So it starts there. And then he's got arm strength. He's made himself a guy who was a 2-pitch guy to a 4-pitch guy. So he can go through a lineup 3 different times and give him varied looks. I know the next level looks at that. And the fact that he's gotten better every year, he doesn't have the atypical body type that's going to show projection, but his track record, he's gotten better every year. His stuff's gotten better every year. So I know the next level loves that. And just how advanced he is with the 4 pitches and the command, and the fact that he's ultra competitive. And those guys don't come around like they used to, and it's just the truth. And when the next level in major league organizations see that fight, that fire, and that composure, they want that to be in their organizations combined with the talent.
Yeah, I think I saw an interview earlier this year where you said your favorite part of the week was putting his name in the starting lineup on Friday. Does that still give you a thrill writing his name in there?
I love it. It's I'm game planning right now for Oklahoma, and everything is based on who you're throwing, and when Jordan's pitching, you coach differently, because it's usually going to be a tight game, and he usually doesn't need that much run support, and a couple outings here and there that hasn't happened, but we play at a really high level, and good hitters get hits too. But I love it just because of who he is and how much he loves this program, and he loves putting that uniform on, and he competes at a different level because he's emotionally invested in our program and what we're all about. And I love writing those names down. That's for sure.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Hey, Kellis. Thank you.
Cody, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I'll keep it on Jordan Wicks. So he had a very, very good summer in 2020. Did you recommend that to him, or did he kind of decide to do that on his own?
Well, there were very few leagues open. First of all, those guys needed to pitch because they didn't throw enough innings, for their development, and he needed to get better too, So rather than usually throwing 100 innings plus for us, and he needed to go out and get close to that number. And there were very few amateur leagues open at that time, and the only one was one in Arkansas, and all those guys started out there. And then the Northwoods League came open later on in the summer, and we moved him over to the Northwoods League to finish up to get his innings. And we place all our guys in summer situations if they need innings, or if they don't need innings, or if they're young and they need development. There's leagues for every stage of your player's growth in your program. But Jordan needed to go out, and he wanted to go out and work on a 4th pitch, and he did that. I was fortunate enough to go see him pitch because he played for the same team that my son played. So I had the luxury of going out and being able to watch our players because of my affiliation with my son and his team. And first time I saw Jordan throw this summer, when he added that slider, it was a completely different pitch, and it was awesome. So from that standpoint alone, it was beneficial that he went out just for his pitch development, growth as a pitcher.
Yeah. So you mentioned that slider. Were there any other pitches that he either developed or improved over the summer?
No, I thought his curveball got better. He's always going to have the fastball. He's always going to have that changeup. It's all people talk about, but it was that slider development. It went from being a cutter to a slider, which I thought was great. And then his curveball had more depth. He was throwing it harder and gives guys a different look. You give him the up and down look, and then you can give him the side to side look with the slider. And the more you can change hitters' eye angles and vantage points, the more success you can have. And Jordan can go east to west and north and south with you now with this pitch development that occurred over the summertime.
When he came back to Manhattan, did you see any changes in his demeanor after that summer?
Not really. I mean, kid's been hungry since the day he stepped on campus. He's been hungry since the day. I recruited him when I was at Oklahoma. He's just wired differently, man. That's all I can tell you. And he's always hungry. He's always looking to get to a different level, and he's looking to win. He's looking to be a good teammate. And those guys usually have really long careers.
Has his training changed any differently? Maybe prepping for pro ball, maybe trying to work that, like to be like a fifth day start, like to start every 5 days.
The only thing that he's done to get ready for pro ball is he golfs like three times a week in between each start, and that's what those big league starters do, man. They get razor sharp golf games. So that's the only thing I've seen from Wixie, honestly. He's done the same thing with Coach Sear in our weight room, and for 3 years, and don't underestimate the jump he's made in that room. It correlates with the jump he's made on the mound, with Josh Sear, and he's one of the most, him and Blaine Burris actually, with our velocity development and the health of our pitchers, probably the two most underrated guys in our program as far as developing those arms.
Speaking of like velocity, how do you kind of protect Jordan's arm or all your pitchers' arms, like as they're trying to ramp up that velocity?
It's just having great communication between your training room and your training staff, Blaine, Burris, and your weight room and your pitching coach. It's constant daily communication on workouts, on recovery, on pre-practice care, post-practice care, when they're throwing, and how that ties into that lifting schedule so they can maximize their performance in the weight room and on the mound. But that doesn't happen if you don't communicate between those three areas in your programs: pitching coach, strength coach, and training room. And this is the best I've been around. Guys are making huge jumps in our program on the mound. Guys that weren't good enough to pitch in other programs are at a really high level now because we're developing in those areas.
Last one for me. How excited are you and the guys to have an increased capacity at the stadium this weekend?
I was so fired up to hear that, man. I tell you, we have a home field advantage with 25% in the point. I don't know if they play the music too loud or what, but it's a rabid fan base, man. I love it. It's the best place I've ever been as far as, emotionally invested fans and community. And so to double that with a homestand, our guys were as fired up as I was. Believe me, they love our fans. They love our game experience. There's a home field advantage here, no doubt.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, Cody.
Go ahead, Colt.
Hey, Coach. Oklahoma as a team is hitting .302, and they have, if I'm not mistaken, the leading hitter in the country at Tyler Hardman hitting .465. What does the pitching staff need to do in order to kind of slow down the Sooner offense?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know Tyler very well. I recruited him. He's really, you see those seniors, those kids, they get a lot of game experience, and they're pretty accomplished hitters, and they're really good 1 through 9. That's for sure. And I think we got to really just pitch to our strengths and not necessarily to their weaknesses. But you got to be careful with a couple guys in that lineup, specifically Hardman. When those guys are that comfortable and they're putting up those numbers, you can't let that guy beat you. So you got to be really careful. But I do like the matchup. It's going to make you coach a little bit differently, where you're going to try to be a little aggressive and try to put some more runs up on the board, because they do have some firepower, and they've proven that they can come back from deficits and they have the offense to do that. And, Toynton's an offensive play. So, you can't keep your foot off the gas pedal when an offense is on the other side of the field from you if you have a lead, But to answer your question, we got to limit free base runners. You got to limit the walks. You got to keep the home runs to solo home runs, not 3-run home runs. You got to play good defense. So that all goes into it too, and that'll allow our pitchers to attack the zone and let our defense play. But you got to be careful of giving free base runners because they got some firepower.
Does that put more pressure on your offense to try and keep up with them?
If you look at the pitching numbers, I kind of like the Cats in this one, so there's some runs to be had out there. But it does put some pressure on your offense. That's why I would like to score early, because it takes a lot of pressure off your guys and lets your pitchers settle in. If we can score early, it takes pressure off your pitcher. He doesn't have to be so fine, and every pitch is doesn't have to be life or death with every pitch. So for me, the key is to score early and try to build a lead, and I think everyone else gets settled in when our offense can do that.
And then my last question here. We've talked a lot about Jordan Wicks today, but I think Carson Seymour has also made a lot of strides. Just kind of what have you seen from him overall this year, and what is he going to need to do on Saturday to be successful?
Yeah, he had a bad outing at Texas, but he was trending upward, that's for sure, in his growth and development the 3 previous starts. Carson's upsides is phenomenal. I mean, his strength, he has very few miles on his arm, so the next level guys love that. His best days are ahead of him, and still he's very, very good for us. So that's what's exciting about him as a prospect. But for Carson to have success for us here this weekend and on the way out, is fastball command. It's throwing strike one. That sounds little league, but it's true. You throw strike one, and then everything becomes easy. And everyone's talk about a slider command, be a 2-pitch guy, and that's fine, but that doesn't happen unless you're throwing your fastball for a strike. So we're not going to ask him to throw 3 pitches for a strike. He just needs to throw 2 pitches for a strike and limit the free passes. And he's proven he can do that. And we expect Carson to pitch really good for us this weekend and on the way out of the rest of the season.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Percy, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Coach Hughes. Wanted to ask about, you have a couple of guys in Zach Acosta and Dylan Phillips who are obviously having great seasons for you offensively, and not having a real intimate knowledge of those guys just as guys. What is it that makes those two tick and makes them as great as they are for you right now?
Well, they're both consumed with their preparation and work ethic, and we have an early work group, which is an hour before practice, but those guys are on the early work group, which they come out 45 minutes before early work, and it's an all day, every day thing with those guys, hitting and becoming a complete player, and both really cerebral when it comes to knowing the game, wanting knowledge of the game, always trying to get an advantage, as far as meeting with Austin Waits and plan of attack with opposing pitchers, and always talking the game. And there's no special formula to it. It's not a coincidence that those two guys are our top 2 hitters, because they're our top 2 workers, and great role model, when you're trying to change a program into a winning program and provide a winning culture every day. Those guys are great examples for our younger guys and our new people that come in the program, that this is how we do it. And it's funny, I had their summer coach, he reached out to me last year and said, these guys are animals. I've had early hitting before the bus leaves on the road and early hitting at home set up for 3 or 4 years, and I'd only have one or two guys show up, but, Zach and Dylan show up every single day, and they're our most productive guys in the games. And because next thing you know, I look up and there's 15 to 20 guys at early work every single day because of what those two guys, how they go about their business. So I thought that was great for our program, but it's who they are. And like I said, it's really helped me having those two guys change the atmosphere and the culture and the way we go about our business every day.
Maybe not totally fair to lump these two guys together, but Cam Thompson and Chris Ceballos both went through some slow starts this year and now seem to be really, rounding into form. How have they been able to get that corrected and going? And I guess how similar or different are the situations to you?
Those guys are older players. Their foundation's already been laid a long time ago as far as, how they approach the game and knowledge of the game and the ups and downs of the game. And they both know the biggest challenge that this game presents itself is, how to get out of those ruts and to try to keep those times you're in that ruts, and you don't want to be in those ruts too long. You try to minimize those times you're in there. And I think that's their experience that they've drawn on, is to get them out of those ruts. Chris was in one, he was in a bad one. But you got to stay in the right frame of mind. You got to stick to your preparation. You got to stick to your routine. Guys who are constantly changing are panicking, and they stay in those ruts for a long time. Those guys kept believing in the process. So they rely on their experience to know that the process is the way to get out of it, and stay positive. It's phenomenal. You got to be mentally strong. This game will wear you out. You have to be so mentally strong. And usually the strength our guys get is from, their past experiences. And to have two older guys go through that slump, I knew they wouldn't be in it too long because they've had success and they've drawn from their experiences. And Ceballos has always been one of the leading hitters, in conference for us too. Now we got Cam going again, and he's a pivotal guy to get going. We need him on base because he can run. So those two guys, I wasn't too worried about them. It's just the game can beat you up, but they're strong enough to get out of it, and they've proven that lately.
But I know it was a tough injury weekend for you guys in Austin last week with Terrence and Dom. Then, you've had Cole Johnson hurt as well. I just, right now with the injury situation, how much do you feel like it is affecting you guys, and how much optimism is there that you might be able to get some of those guys back later this year?
Yeah, it definitely hurts your depth, and then you take, Dom's leading our team in on base percentage in league. You need guys on base. That's one area where we're deficient. I don't like how we don't walk. We don't get on base. We lead the league in home runs, but we're second or last in runs scored. That means we don't have people on base. So that hurt us. But Terry and Cole, it takes two right-handed bats out of your lineup. Someone goes left-handed against us. It's not the best deal. But Terry's injury specifically hurt us the most, and, because now you take away a premier defender at first, which is such an underrated position defensively. And then we take an outfielder out of the outfield, and have to play first base. Now we're playing guys in the outfield that aren't quite ready to be everyday players when we have to take Phillips and play him at first. That's one injury that hurt you in two spots, really. But I just feel terrible for Terry because he broke his other wrist during the summer. It took him forever to get back. I had to sit him for 2 weeks because it just wasn't right. He started to feel great the past week. His at-bats at Texas, for someone who hadn't played in 2 weeks, were phenomenal. He sees a ton of pitches. He's a veteran guy. He can get 2-out hits for you. And then we thought he tore his ligament in his thumb. We thought he'd be out for the season. And we had a really good doctor's visit. And looks like we're going to be missing him for 2 to 3 weeks. Cole Johnson may be available this weekend. And Dom will be out 2 to 3 weeks. He broke his hand on a pitch Friday night, got hit by a pitch on Friday night. But great news for Terry, because I was heartbroken for the kid on his other hand, when he worked his butt off to get back and then makes a great dive and play, rolls up over his thumb. the immediate evaluation was torn ligament surgery done for the year, but he stretched it to the hilt, that's for sure. So that area is still angry and inflamed. So but 2 to 3 weeks, that was as good a doctor's appointment that I went to as a coach in a long time on Monday with Dr. Gaskill and Terry. And I'm just happy for Terry, happy for our team, because when he's in the lineup, we're a lot better.
Yeah, glad to hear that. I appreciate it, Coach. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, Curtsy.
Kelsey, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, what can you say? Cam Wilman had a pretty good outing this last series. What can you say about him since his return from injury?
Yeah, it's just nice. He's so consistent and sees a lot of pitches at the plate. And as I said previously, we're not great at doing that as a team, and Cam brings that. He can work counts and get pitches tired, and he gets on base, he walks, and then we just saw last night he's got a little sneaky power too. So he's you want some production down the bottom part of your lineup offensively. That's what he brings in, and he brings a veteran presence to our infield too. And I moved him to second base to take some pressure off the injury and to take some pressure off him, actually. And we have a freshman at shortstop now, and it's good to have Cam next to him, because I think Cam might be like 29 years old, 30 years old. Actually, he's one of our older players. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's a kid that's been around, and he's a good teammate, and I know his teammates trust him. So it's great to have him out there in the middle of our defense.
And my other question, does this game or this series have any extra significance to you with your former ties to Oklahoma?
Great question, Kelsey. It honestly, it doesn't. I don't. I love everything about Oklahoma, because if I didn't go there, I wouldn't be at Kansas State. And this is the right place for me, believe me, and the right people to be around, and the right colors to wear. I love putting the KS on my chest, believe me. So if it wasn't for Oklahoma, I wouldn't be here. So we're very grateful for that. I'm very grateful to be here. But as far as more motivation, there's none. This game's not about me. It's about our guys getting back into the Big 12 race. And it's just another opponent that's coming in here, and people have a hard time playing here. And it's just another opponent we're going to try to win a series from.